So basically, this is basically a remake of the Playable Collision, except in a different location. So sorry if you're offended by me copying a video. So yeah, let's get into it. One day in the faraway city of Paris, France, Aunt Drake was testing a train with Francis configuration on the tracks. The train was led by locomotive 435 by exploding PH 335. At the back was 90224. MPCU 90224. As the train made its way down the main line made for the TGV, the train was going 90 miles an hour. It operated as a local. As the train approached the next city near Versailles, France. The train approached the next station near Versailles, France. The train rides on France's tracks pretty well. As the train arrives in Versailles, the brakes are applied so the train could stop. The train slows down to 79 miles an hour. However, weirdly, the person sped up the train and they got to 90 again. The train approached Philadelphia at night. No, sorry, not Philadelphia. The train approached Versailles at 90 miles an hour. As the train pulled into Versailles, a switch, not known to them, a switch had been malfunctioning that day. The switch was set for track 3, where the train should not have been. The train should have been on track 1. As the train approached through track 1, the switch switched back, and the train jumped the tracks. As the train continues rolling, knocking down signs between the divider of the rail. However, when they get to the next switch, they find that it's locked, and the train goes off the rails. 362 ends up on her side, next to a high-speed bridge. The first superliner was tipped over. Onto its side. The second superliner is okay, but it's slightly derailed. The third superliner and the MPCU 90224 are okay. Luckily okay. The engineer is killed on impact as he is flung out of his window and smashed into the concrete bridge. The conductor who is giving tickets as they were about to go to the next stop, he was punching tickets as they were about to go to the next stop. Unaware that he had skipped Versailles. And whether he skipped Versailles. 33 passengers in the first coach are injured. However, there was one death. Once again, the driver was flung out of his seat through the window and smashed into the floor on the concrete pillar, hitting his head and smashing his head and skull. Emergency services responded very quickly, as this is in the middle of Versailles. As the train derailed in the middle of Versailles. As the train stay there overnight. The France's Transportation Safety Board, or whatever you call it, investigated the wreck, and they saw the two switches at Versailles were not working properly. A few days earlier, there was a switch cost the TGV to jump the tracks at the same location. However, I will talk about that break another day. As this happened sometime? As this happened on the 20th? Is that this happened on the 22nd of August? They wondered why. It could have been melting rails that caused the switch to malfunction. And that was exactly right. Due to an over-exaggerating temperature of 120 degrees at noon, the rails were burnt and the rails were burned down and the train jumped the tracks. And that's where the accident happened, and we had to lose one more life. So